Yo, 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 it's your boy Sneaky from R&R, recognition and respect. Tune in every Monday from 8 to 9 to catch up with me and my adventures and hear from my guests ranging from artists to entrepreneurs and much, much more. Catch us every Monday of the week on the west side of the after party. See you at the party, y'all. Yo, 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 how is everybody doing out there in the world of internet radio? You're tuning in to Sneaky Recognition and Respect every Monday night from 8 to 9. Of course, this wouldn't be possible without all the people who support me and got my back. So, as always, we're going to start the show off with our sponsors. I want to shout out Night Flare Company, a video, sound, and event production team. Frankie Valentine does studio production and recording. JQ Sound does live sound and live recording. And, of course, we have Napalm Monkey and Flying Chimp Studios doing all your video needs. I do marketing. Sneaky Entertainment is part of Night Flare Company. I help with the marketing. I'm also one of their promoters. We throw shows along with Alternative Shows LA, Demise, Deranged, the Blue Line District, and we're always expanding our promoter team. So if there's anybody out there interested in throwing shows and like working with venues and doing all that, feel free to hit me up and let's get to work. We have a new sponsor today, and she's actually our guest, so I want to thank Cyn Arias, Awakening Authenticity. It's a personal development and self-discovery blog, and we're going to get into it right now with Cyn and find out what her blog's all about and how she got here. And so let me introduce Cyn. Say hi to the people.
Hey, everyone. So let me jump right in. Pretty much what ended up happening was that I ended up realizing that there was a place for people in need where they needed to go to. And I created my own blog page in hopes for them to be able to find something to relate to. I remember I was going through a lot of shit and I would Google a lot of things. I would go to YouTube and I would try to find answers online. That's the best resource that we have thus far, at least from what I know. So I decided to create a place for everyone to go to when they're having, whether it's family issues, relationship issues, you feel lost, you feel fucking suicidal, whatever it may be. I have this open space where I pour my heart out and I try to help people out. So that's pretty much where I'm at. I'm hoping to expand and get other bloggers to join so that they can go ahead and write their experiences as well, because we all have our own journey, our own story to tell, and the more people we get to tell their story, the better it is for people to feel like they have someone to relate to.
So we go way back. We actually know each other from high school. We weren't friends in high school, but after high school, you reached out to me and we reconnected, and that's kind of where we started hanging out again. Do you remember why you reached out to me and what that whole interaction was about? Because I think it ties into this whole journey of yours, and I think I still remember it very vividly. It was very like good for my ego, you know, like it was like it made me feel good that you were reaching out. So do you remember what was going through your head, like, because obviously the struggle had already been going on, right? Yeah. You were kind of already on this journey to awakening your authenticity. So what was cracking there, and why did you reach out? And then we'll continue on from there.
Let's see. I was going through a lot of shit. I mean, I was 21 when I reached out to you. And I remember at the age of 19, I went through this fucking horrific heartbreak. Isn't that almost how it starts out, right?
Yeah.
Almost every story starts
relationships. I usually say women, but if in your case it was a dude, so I can't.
Yeah, you know, so I was feeling super lost. I had lost all of my friends because our friends merged. And when we split, you know, his friends were his friends, and I respected that, and I dipped out. And I felt fucking lost, and I was going through your page, and I remember I was seeing all of these things that you were up to, and I thought, fuck, dude, what am I doing with my life? Like, seriously, what am I doing with my life? I wasn't going out, I wasn't doing shit. Like, I was just at home, depressed, going through some hardcore shit. And then that's when you just reminded me that I reached out to you, and that's true. I invited you to my 22nd birthday party. You invited the rest of our friends. You guys showed up, and you guys witnessed the first bit of it.
Because you were sober, which was like, I'm like, dude, it's your birthday. We're at a bar, and you're not drinking? What's up with this?
Yeah, exactly. I'm at a bar. And
on your birthday
on
celebration.
My birthday, and everyone's drinking, having a great time. I still had a great time.
I mean, it was fun.
Yeah, it was
fun.
fun.
We're fun, so I know you had fun.
It was fun, but yeah, I was sober, and that was that was like the first fucking step. But you know, I mean, we all go through things, and we take steps forward and we take steps back, and that's okay. And that's another reason why I started the blog. It's okay if you fucking step back a bit, you know, in your journey. Like, you're not gonna fucking have it all together all at once.
Right, because that's just for transparency's sake. You did start partying again. And I'm not saying it was our fault, but let's just say, you know, we're fun people.
Oh, and then I went down the rabbit hole.
Right. So let's gloss over that part, because that's not the important part. The important part is that recently you took a step back, and you kind of stopped hanging out with people, and you kind of you got a job farther away that was going to pay you more money.
Yeah.
And you were like, okay, how old are you now?
28.
And you're like, okay, now I really got to get my shit together.
Yeah, seriously.
And so I'm guessing at this point you started this blog, and I'm just curious, like, authenticity, the word authenticity, it brings a lot of things to my mind, like I do hip hop, something like real and being like, or being legit, or like not being fake.
Yeah.
Why authenticity, and how is, like, do you feel like you were not living your authentic self before, and this is like, so like what, explain that, please.
Yeah, so I feel like for a lot of years I was playing this role. You and I caught up a couple weeks ago, and I told you that I portrayed this role of, in your words, of this woo girl. This woo girl, and I didn't know how the fuck to get out of there, you know? Like, I went so deep into that role that it became who I was, but it wasn't me. Like
this nonstop fun party, sex, and clubs, and
no, yeah,
it's that's like that party girl.
Well,
like
it's like this girl who's down for her shit. She, you know, can get the guy. She gets the guy, and then it's like, I remember our guy friends would tell us, like, "Oh, you're such a player," and I thought, man, only if you guys knew, like, I'm not that girl. Like, I wasn't the type of girl who could just have sex without feelings. And you know, for some men it's like, oh great, you know, she was one of those. Yeah, I couldn't.
Hey man,
I couldn't. So
I'm all about feelings. In my feelings.
So it was one of those.
Do you love me? Are you? Oh, sorry. Continue.
So it was one of those things where it went from that to even just really being this this cheerleader for everyone. And I thought, fuck, you know, like, when am I gonna do that for me? And I didn't fucking do that for me. I was there for everybody else, and I wasn't there for me. And I got bitter, and I got frustrated, I got angry, I got depressed. But when you really think about it, nobody asked me to fucking do that.
Right. You made a choice to put yourself in that role and be that cheerleader. And
because I wanted to be very well liked by everyone around me. Right. I wanted to be that girl that you could count on, but also the one who, you know, like, oh yeah, she's always fucking there. But then one day I wasn't there. I wasn't there anymore, and everyone started wondering where the hell I was, and I would lie. And I would say, oh, and this is probably now when everyone is finding out, yeah, I lied for the most part. I would tell people I was babysitting, or I would tell people that my family didn't want me to go out, or that I was in deep shit. But in reality, what I couldn't say was, dude, I need time for myself. I need to fucking recharge. I need to find me. I need to know who the fuck I am before I can come around you guys. Because it goes way back to even, I want to say junior high, when I remember I got to 6th grade and I wasn't that girl who would say cuss words. And I remember, just to fit in, my group of friends, they ended up fucking saying, "Oh, don't even bother with her. Like, she's very to herself. She's very sane." And then that killed me inside, because I wanted to feel
accepted.
Wanted, accepted, cared for, loved. And fuck, that's where it all started. It fucking started at that moment where it started with me going on to cuss words, to other crap, obviously. I mean, fuck.
Yeah, I know. I was there. We don't have to go there. I was there.
Like,
Yeah. So now, compared to that woo girl, that facade you're putting on, like, who is this authentic self? And like, did you always write, or was writing something that you found that helped you find your sanity? Or like, because I'm still wondering where you made that jump from, like, okay, this is my sad, depressed life, and I don't want to go out, and I need to find out who I am. And like, did you pick up a notebook, or like, how did that happen?
So writing goes as far back as freshman year of high school.
Okay.
I just kind of always kept it a secret. I didn't feel like I needed to tell anyone that I loved writing. No, obviously.
Right, that's not really a conversation in high school, right?
Yeah,
it's like, I'm into this band, I like this 40 ounce. Oh, I like writing.
Yeah. It's like, oh man, you guys should read what I wrote the other day. Like, it's so fucking intriguing. No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
Wasn't anything like that. But I remember the first journal that I ever got was from one of my ex-boyfriends in high school. And thanks to him, I wrote a lot of deep shit in that journal. And that's where it started. But of course, I kept it a secret. I never told anyone this is what I like to do for fun. My grammar may not be there all well, My punctuation may be a little off, but I really don't care, because when it comes to expressing yourself,
you just gotta get it out.
Yeah. It's an outlet. You have to do it. It doesn't matter how it's fucking written down. It comes out.
So you were always writing.
Yeah.
And then when did you realize that you were going to put your writing out? Like, did because that sounds scary, like, for someone who always hid it and was never bragging about it, like, to say, okay, I'm going to make a whole website and I'm going to promote my writing and tell people to come, and like, what was that like?
It's still scary. Like, it's just one of those things where I don't think, and I'm just going to come out and say it, I don't think that some of my friends understand it, and they don't have to. But there will be other people who will get it and will understand it, and it's for them. But it's still scary, because there are still times where I fear the fact that I think, fuck, they're going to judge me. They're going to talk shit, like, behind my back, or they're going to, just every fucking little thing that you can think of, and then I think about it and I think, well, fuck. As long as I know that it makes me feel better, then I can't really concern myself about what they're gonna think.
So you're more worried about your friends, though, like strangers. What, you don't mind telling strangers to come and read your stuff? Or
no, isn't that interesting, right? You would think that I would fear strangers reading my stories or reading what my deepest thoughts, but in reality, it's more of I always feared what these people that I've known for a good while, what they would think, what they would say. And I still fear it from time to time, but at the same time, I'm like, I gotta do me. They're doing them, I'm doing me, and I'm doing whatever makes me feel better.
So how do you come up with topics? Or is it just like whatever you feel you write? Or are you researching what are you going into Google and finding out what people are asking about? Or do you have like a backlog of stuff? Are you going back to those old notebooks in high school and finding like some authentic, some true Cyn back in that?
Some Cyn, pun intended.
You said it, not me. You said it, not me.
Damn. Well, for the most part, I do have a backlog of things, topics and things that.
I'm going prepared.
Yeah. You know, you can't just. I mean, you can jump right into it.
Let's not say you can't, because I didn't have no radio show before I decided to come over here.
No. I don't want to discourage anyone. Yeah, you can. It's just, I do have a backlog, yeah. But what helps me know what to post up next is if I have a conversation with someone and it triggers me, and it reminds me of something that I already have, I think, oh, fuck, I've already touched on this. Why not? Like, I feel like other people would benefit from that same topic, so I post it up. Sometimes I do. I ask other people, hey, you know, what do you feel like you're struggling with? Or what do you feel like you want to know more about? Obviously, no, I'm not claiming I know everything, because I know people fucking already gonna say,
what the fuck does this bitch know about shit? Hey, you ratchet girl, you know the twerk. What? I'm trying to give advice and be inspirational.
Oh, man.
I could hear the haters. I hear you, haters.
I know. I hear you too. It's cool.
It's
no,
cool.
obviously.
Keep hating with your unfulfilled ass, feeling whack.
He said it, not me.
Having to get wasted every day and try to get digged down because you got no love in yourself. You got no love for yourself. I'm just talking shit.
You know what?
I brought some you brought me that Jack Daniels. I'm sorry.
I did. I'm sorry. Guilty.
Miss Montana, don't judge me. Sorry. I know you're listening. I'm still on point. I got my notes right here. I'm still on point. No, but seriously.
No. But yeah, it's one of those things where I'll reach out to people sometimes and I'll ask them things. But you know what? You touched on something. You touched on unfulfilled people, unfulfilled. It's interesting because I realized that I caught myself a lot of the times that I would criticize someone else was because I maybe envied the fact that they had courage to do something and I didn't, or I envied the fact that they had qualities that I didn't. Maybe that person didn't give a fuck about posting up a selfie where they felt like where they thought they looked great, but everyone else is thinking that they look like shit. You get me? And it was one of those things where I've witnessed that. I've witnessed a lot of mainly females. I don't know about males. I mean, I haven't witnessed that part too much, but females tear each other down. And it's in a sense where it kind of bothers me because I feel like I want to encourage them to take a step back and look at what they're criticizing and why they're doing it. Because a lot of the times when I criticize something, it was because I fucking wanted that. Or I wanted their confidence. Or I wanted their, them not giving a fuck for whatever they were posting or doing or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. That was what I was wanting for so long, was to not give a damn. To not give a damn about what everyone else thought. But I look around and I look at my surroundings and I think, you're criticizing someone's technique in makeup. You're criticizing someone's technique in their wardrobe. But what if that fucking makes them feel like them? What if they feel complete and whole? And here you are, not feeling that way, and they do have something that you don't. So it's like, that's something that I really want, not only women, but men too, but to take a step back and...
Men tend to hold things in. Sorry to interrupt, but I think, because I literally just had this kind of conversation with my dude friends where, we were kind of just venting about all the stuff that we've been holding inside that we hate, that
you guys fucking
like the shit that it's like the shit that pisses you off about someone, but you don't tell them because you don't want to seem like you're being whack and you don't want to be breaking them down, so you try to either fake support or you try to make like crack little like low key jokes, like if it's nonchalant but deep down you're just like mother, and you hold on to it, and that shit gets like it
and
festers.
Then it comes out.
And then it's like that's why dudes fight. I feel like because they hold shit in, and then by the time they're ready to let it out, it's like they're ready to throw hands because that's how fucking like fed up they are. But honestly, I think this is like a huge thing that I think it's just communication. Yeah. Like people need to communicate better, even if it's communicating with yourself or just communicating your thoughts to yourself. Yeah. Because I know for me, like writing songs, writing lyrics, or like recently I just wrote, I wrote like a little paragraph that's gonna be published in a book in San Francisco. My homegirl's doing like she's just doing like a project where she's collecting all these stories. And I know that like when I write, it tends to come out different than the way I actually remember it. Yeah. It's almost like I'm
you never remember it.
Yeah, it's almost like and then like it's almost like when you hear it back to you, when you read it out loud to yourself, you can kind of realize either how ridiculous it sounds or how much more it impacted you than you thought. You're like, oh yeah, this thing that happened to me, and then you realize that like 29 years later, you're still talking about that shit. It must have been a big, right? It must have been so I feel like just communication is key. And I feel like you are a communicator at this point, like of your ideas, of your thoughts. And it's important. It's an important message. Even if no one gets like super inspired by you, or if they like, if you know, if your stuff doesn't resonate with them, I think it still is important for people to see someone communicating effectively, putting their thoughts out, not holding it in, trying to come across as understandable, relatable, compassionate, kind, caring as possible. You know, I think all that stuff it's important for our high hate, high tension world that we live in right now. Like it's this little blip of positivity that like I'm glad, you know, you're doing it. So
holding it in fucking just it kills you. It killed me for a long time, and that's that's a huge part of the reason why I never wanted to come around anyone, because I felt like a fraud to myself, not to anybody else, to me. I knew I was lying to myself. I knew that it's like it's not even that I was lying to anybody else. Yeah, I lied to you guys about several things, but I was lying to me, and that
about wanting to be there, about wanting to be turned or wasted,
exactly,
or pumping up whoever you are pumping up. Like, oh, you go, girl,
and the thing is that I like to party now, but I do it on certain occasions or when I really feel like going out. Yeah, I still drink. Yeah, I still go out with my friends. I still party. I'll stay up late. But the thing about it is that at least I know that that's still a part of me. I no longer lie about the wanting to fucking go out and get a guy. I no longer lie about it's just, if I have an issue with you, I'm going to let you know this time. I'm not going to hide it, sweep it under the rug, because there's no point. I'd rather let everything out and let you know, hey, you know what? Been feeling this type of way, and let's hash it out, or maybe it's time for us to go our separate ways. Mm-hmm. Because that's just the way that life is.
Just mature, dude. Like it's just being mature. Like at a certain point, it's like I just randomly ran into a homie, and I'm not gonna give too much details. He's not no one you know, not our friends. It's just and he literally like this is his exact words to me, and it resonates right now because he's like, I'm too old to be putting up with people like if I don't fuck with them, like if I don't like their energy or like what they're bringing or don't want to hang out with them, like I don't care who they talk to, I don't care who's friends with who, I'm just gonna tell them not to come around because I don't need that. I'm too old for that shit. And I feel like we're getting to a point where it's like like you gotta kind of start curating your circle and choosing who's gonna be around you. And I mean, I'm still always meeting new people and trying to find new people. Like I'm growing a business. You're gonna try to find new you're gonna try to find new people who are gonna be contributing to
expanding, like just.
So I mean, but at some point it's like you got to be really clear about what your goals are and who's helping you get there and who's not. Yeah. And I'm still curious though, because I know you have a backlog and you've been writing forever. But what made you want to put a blog out? Like, what was that like? I'm gonna build a website and I'll put the ads, and this is gonna be like another stream of revenue. Like, where did all that part come from?
Fuck. Okay. I really want to say it still always goes back to mainly being triggered by relationships.
Because you just did say go out and get a guy, right? I was going to bring that up next because it seems like a lot of this stuff revolves around men and relationships. So
yeah, you know what? I mean, there's no shame in my game. I'm speaking my truth, right? So there were a lot of times where I just felt like I was pursuing a relationship or a male, for the wrong reasons, and I knew I was. Well, now I do. And it wasn't until...
At the time, it just felt weird, but you didn't know what it was.
Yes.
And now you're, like very aware, like, oh, it's because I didn't want to be in a fucking...
Well, no, it's just... I wanted to be in a relationship for the wrong reasons. Because this social conditioning that we all fucking get placed with, the whole timelines that society feeds us, like... You should be married by a certain age. And not just society, but, culture. Our culture with our Hispanic, culture, it's just...
And there's also, like, this biological clock, right? Like, if you don't have kids in this window...
I don't believe that shit,
okay, yeah.
No, that one, no.
That makes, like, one of you...
No, but look, but now that you touched on that, there are a lot of fucking women out there, and I'm sorry, I love you all. I'm a woman, but... Fuck, you need to stop with that psycho shit. Stop with the shit of, I need to marry before a certain age. I need to have a kid before a certain age. I need to do this before a certain age. It's like, stop. That's ruining your life. It really is. Like, people don't realize, and maybe not just women, but males too. They don't realize that by doing that to themselves, they cheat themselves out of really getting to know someone for who they are. And then they want to mold someone into someone they're not for the sake of these fucking timelines that they have. And those are the people, for the most part, who end up bitter when they're older, who end up super miserable with their kids, and they have to put their kids through seeing a separation. And it's just shit after shit after shit that they don't have to deal with. Because of these fucking timelines that are set for us. We are like...
in quotes for those just listening, Homegirl said, quotation, timelines.
Those don't fucking exist, and...
Well, what about, like... Because, I mean, I know what you're talking about, but just to play devil's advocate, and a lot of people who are happy, they marry young, they get a house, they
and I'll tell you why those are, though. It's because of the fact that their thought process was so much more different than the ones who are trying to speed through it. They were okay with how their life was, and shit just played out that way, where they got so blessed to the point where they weren't in a relationship to fucking... Their goal was in marriage. And let's say, maybe it was, but their intentions were fucking pure and everything just flowed differently. Yes, I'm a fucking spiritual fucking person.
Yeah, you did post some crystal shit, and I was like, Cyn with the crystal. Yeah. You believe in fucking astrology too? And...
But look, it's just... It's one of those things where, yeah, some people get blessed where, yeah, they marry early, they have kids early, and shit just flows for them. But for the ones who are after those fucking timelines, it's just, you need to stop. I mean,
like
do or don't.
They're in it for a check mark on a list as opposed to like...
Yes, it's like...
So wait, how does that go? Okay, so you realized you were getting into these patterns of like chasing dudes and trying to be in a relationship because you wanted to be married and have kids before a certain time, and then obviously did not work out, right? You're single?
No.
Oh, all right. Well, all right. You heard it here first, folks. Off the market. No, but so then how, like, you're channeling this inner whatever it is, how does that become?
So this is how it all started out. I found someone who stopped feeding my ego and started feeding my soul. I know, it sounds corny, but...
I'm just rolling my eyes right now. Massive eye fucking roll right now. Oh, my God.
No, look.
Brittany,
look.
are you rolling your eyes over there?
It's just
No, Brittany thinks it's cute. Brittany thinks it's cute.
No, but look, you need to... honestly, it was one of those things where... Putting it into terms where everyone else will understand, you find yourself someone who's fucking mature enough to not tolerate your bullshit, not tolerate those fucking little kid games, and tell you straight up, I'm not here to save you, you need to save yourself. And it was one of those things where I don't think I had ever had anyone fucking talk to me like that and tell me, you know, this isn't this fairy tale thing that you're thinking of, but you still know that they're supporting you. They're just not gonna feed you with the fucking spoon. You get me? It's one of those things where certain people want you to be very independent and they want you to be able to fix your own stuff. Absolutely, they'll be there supporting you, guiding you, you know, rooting you on. But it's just one of those things where I dealt with things that I had never dealt with before, and it played with my insecurities. But again, dealing with someone who is just not, is old enough to not deal with kid shit, because those tendencies were high school things, you know, all of those tendencies that I had. I guess you can say it was even, in a sense, some sort of mind game manipulation type of shit that some women have out there, you know, like.
You were the one playing mind games, manipulating, or?
Yeah, it was one of those things. Like, and I'll give an example. It's kind of like when you play that game of, let's see how much this person really cares. But
throwing up in my mouth right now. You're one of those.
But not
or you
anymore.
were. You.
But hey, you know what?
Awakening.
But look. But I'm one of the few who's willing to admit. Like,
yeah.
But that's one of those things, like, other women would not want to admit any of that. And I'm here to say, you know what? It's okay to admit it and realize it and work on it and fucking change that shit. Because those types of tendencies will have you fucking single till you're 40, 50, whatever the fuck, or in a miserable relationship. So it's just one of those things where I had to fix a lot of the bad habits that I had. But to go back to it, I mean, yeah, I jumped into a lot of dating for the wrong reasons, and I was just trying to check mark things off my list. And it was almost like I wanted a trophy boyfriend. Hey, you know, yeah, have you guys met my so-and-so? And one day I fucking realized that. And I told you when we caught up, I said that I wanted a wedding more than I wanted the husband or you know, like what it symbolized. And you know, a lot of people out there are probably like, oh, fuck. But
you know what, though? I think it's fair to, like, because I feel like this is shit that you either only see in a movie or that you hear about on some, like, you know, like, soap opera or during the day, like, primetime television. Yeah. Like, I mean, it's important to know, one, that what women are actually thinking, because a lot of us are, like, most dudes are like, wait, what's going on in your head? Yeah. For real. We don't, you know, does not compute. Yeah. And also just to know that just as human beings, right? Like, we make mistakes. We have habits and toxic behaviors that we need to, like, accept and work on. And it's okay to say that you're not perfect and you fucked up and that things are your fault. It's okay to take responsibility for, like, it being like fucked up. It's like, I did this shit. So I think it's important just in general to hear, just for people to hear, like, oh, here's like I said, if they don't take anything away, they could say here's someone who's recognizing that they were in their bullshit and they fucking checked themselves and now they're trying to be better. Like, if that's the only thing you take away, that's like a huge lesson to learn, is that, like, you gotta own your shit and be responsible for your shit. And when did you start telling people? Like, how did it? So you were
telling people what
about the blog? Like, how did you start? When did you start putting?
Like which part?
When did you start putting people on game? Like, is it because you found yourself in these relationships and you were like, "This is all bullshit. I need to write about it," or is this new dude was like, "Hey, maybe you should put this shit." Like, what? How did that happen, or what?
No. He definitely did. He encouraged me to write last year, but not blog wise. I remember he told me, he said, yeah, you know what, you should, because I let him know. I said, fuck, I've always written ever since high school. And he told me, he's like, you should start writing again. But I didn't. That was last year. And what triggered me to do it now was the fact that I was observing a lot of my friendships, just friends, males, females, and I was just taking a look around. And I was realizing the stuff that they were putting themselves through, not just in relationships, but in life. And I thought, fuck, dude, you do not need to go through that. You really do not need to put yourself through so much guilt, through so much torture, through so much, it was so many things. But I think what really, really triggered me, and it both inspired me and pissed me off at the same time, was my 16-year-old sister crying in our room. And I remember I looked at her and I thought, maybe someone had told her, like my mom had said something mean to her, or I don't know. So I started asking questions and I started digging deep. And I ended up realizing that she had just ended her relationship at that moment. And I asked her what was going on. And she said, it's just that I realized that my relationship was toxic. That's when it hit me. A fucking 16-year-old, 16, told me that her relationship was toxic. And here are 28-plus-year-old women still fucking going through all of this bullshit. For what? For the sake of saying that you have someone? For the sake of, checking your checklist? For the sake of your own, fear of being alone? I don't know what it was. And at that moment, that triggered me, and I admired my sister so much for having dipped out of a relationship that she considered to be toxic. And I dug a little deeper into her mind, into her brain, and I asked her questions. What do you consider to be toxic? She walked me through her relationship, and I thought, fuck, I had no idea that this is what she was going through for 2 years. And I thought to myself, how blind was I? And all of us, for us not to realize that a teenager was going through something toxic and we thought everything was fine. The outer appearance, this person was bringing her, gifts on Valentine's Day, was giving her all of these gifts and just all of the affection, all of the love. And for what? For a front, it was sick. It made me sick to realize that the outer appearance of it was nothing of what it really was. And that's what a lot of us are doing. Like, a lot of us are just fucking having this outer appearance of, oh, everything's dandy, everything's fine, and it's not. But a lot of people either don't want to talk about it, or they just don't know how to get out of something because of their fears, insecurities, whatever it may be. It's different for everyone. So it was because of my sister that I decided, fuck, you know what? I need to have an outlet for people, because this is just, it's getting out of control and it's getting out of hand.
All right, so let's shift gears a little bit, because now I know why. How did you, like, when you were like, okay, I'm gonna make a blog, I have this backlog of shit that needs to go out, I need a website. who made your website? Did you make your website? Did you find someone to make your website?
You know what?
I asked you if it was automated and you had ads and you would benefit from like me promoting your blog on the show.
Yeah.
You said yes, like, because this is a business. You know, this is an entrepreneur podcast. Like, I see you as someone that's like, maybe you're not trying to be a business owner or like an entrepreneur. All right. Okay. So I just wasn't sure. I don't want to pigeonhole you, but like you're trying to make some money with this newfound like confidence and this newfound voice.
Of course.
So like, how did that happen? Like not the backstory to the writing, but the more mechanical like.
So it's crazy. I was talking to a couple of friends, and I remember I started doing my research, and I thought, okay, one of my web developer friends was actually real busy, so he couldn't do it. So I thought, all right, well, I was not gonna put excuses anymore to not have something out there. So what I ended up doing was, I ended up going to WordPress and...
WordPress, that's where Sneaky.net's at. Yeah, WordPress.
So I ended up going to WordPress. I ended up looking at all of the packages that they offered, and I started with that. And then I just started, pretty much reaching out to friends and letting them know what I was doing. Some of them have been very receptive. Shout out to you guys who have been reading my blog and who have found it useful. Of course, again, like I've said, not everyone's going to relate to it. Not everyone's going to want to read it.
It's not for everyone.
Exactly.
Everything is not for everyone. Like, stop trying to be for everyone.
Yeah.
Just be for your fucking squad. Stay in your lane. Take care of your fans. Build a relationship with your community, and those are your fucking people, Lead them to the promised land.
But it is, it's on WordPress, so that's where it ended up being. In regards to some of the images or anything else that's on there, I sometimes take the images for that, or I'll go on to Photoshop, and if I need to add words to it, I'll do that myself, and I'll do some of the graphics for it. What else did you want?
Ads. Where did the ads?
Ads.
I need ads on my site because I'm broke. I'm broke out here. We're authenticity over here. Broke ass mo. Can't even pay for my radio show ass motherfucker.
In regards to ads, well, WordPress offers the ads to go through there. Personally, I haven't reached out to people to have ads through there, but hey, maybe you we'll work something out here, and
who knows, man? This is like Miss Montana says, a platform.
Exactly.
This is whatever you make of it. This radio station is for all to benefit.
No, but
with
recently,
a cost.
Yeah, exactly. No, but recently I've been connecting with a lot of other bloggers, but it just comes to mainly how you said earlier. It's just being honest, speaking what you're about. And the other person letting you know, hey, you know what? Let's do something together. Let's collab, whatever. So that's what I've been looking into now. But in regards to ads, the only thing that was up there was just from WordPress.
Yeah. It's good though, because at some point, these thoughts, you gotta get paid for your thoughts. This is. This genius don't come for free, baby. You can't just tap the well. There's a tax. You know what I'm saying?
There's a price for it. I'm looking to expand and just network with a lot more, not just bloggers, but as you touched on, you saw me post something about crystals. So I actually have made connections with a lot of other shops that sell crystals and just are big on spirituality. So I'm touching base with them too, and just doing as much networking as possible.
For sure. So what's next for you? Like, obviously, you just gave a shout out to the people that have been supporting you. Have you been getting good feedback? Like, have people been reaching out to you in your DMs and being like, hey girl, this shit, I needed this shit right here. Like, this is the truth. Like,
surprisingly, and I shouldn't say surprisingly, but
hey man, sometimes you're surprised at how great your own shit is. You're like, really?
Exactly.
So I'll tell you a story after. Tell me your story, I'll tell you my story.
Well, I actually had a couple of strangers comment on the blog, on a couple of blogs, a blog post, and they told me, this hit me where it needed to hit me, or this resonated with me as it should have. And I thought, fuck, like, you go into it knowing that that's what you want to do, but when you get that feedback that's how it does impact people, you just still get surprised. You're just like, oh shit, it really touched you. Mind you, these are strangers.
Yeah.
For the most part,
strangers are always gonna support you more than people that know you, because people you tend to like take you for granted, underestimate you. Like they're like, oh, I know you. It's a good job. Keep doing whatever the fuck you're doing. I'm gonna look over here at this other person I don't know and admire them with all the shit that they're doing, because I don't know their story or where they came from, and that shit's super miraculous to me. But I know where your shit is at.
No. It's funny because I remember my brother tells me that shit all the time. He tells me, I tell you that, and it's like nothing to you, but you read it somewhere else, and it's like the entire world to you. And that shit got to me a couple of times, and I thought, fuck, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that's how it came off. But
well, it's hard when your brother tells you, because like, you love me. Of course you're gonna tell me I'm the shit. Like, of course my lyrics are gonna make you cry. Like, you love me, dog. You were there when I talked about, right? It's like,
no, yeah, but I mean, you touched on it. It's true, and I think I'm developing thicker skin to not let that shit get to me, where I see certain friends support other strangers more, because you're just kind of like, dick, I fucking told you I was going to start doing this, and, you're over there on the other side and not really acknowledging this side. But at the same time, again,
your friends can't pay your bills,
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
Friends can't pay your bills.
Yeah.
Gotta find a bigger base of people that don't fuck with, that don't know you.
At the end of the day, you know what? What I really want for them or anybody is just whatever works for them, whatever the hell helps you. At the end of the day, that's what matters. If somebody else's content helps you out way more, or it impacts you at that moment more, good for you. I'd rather you feel better than not feel any type of positive emotion at all.
Right.
So at the same time, I'm kind of like,
it's like music. If you don't fuck with boom bap or like deep fucking lyrical, conscious, fucking metaphorical, symbolic shit, you're probably not gonna fuck with Sneaky. But that's okay. You wanna trap out, lose yourself? Go. You do you, boo.
But you were gonna tell me your story.
All right. So I was at Indie, and I was DJing, and I was only supposed to DJ till 10, but 10 came around, and like the shit was still cracking, and I already know last call is like 10:45. So in my head, I was like, I'm not working anymore. Like my job here is done.
Yeah.
But I got like 45 minutes where I could probably still get away playing music, so I played nothing but my own tracks. I just dropped back to back Sneaky songs, and at one point, because at this point I'm kind of like pretty buzzed, and like to the point I had to leave my car there. Like I didn't even drive home. Like that's how buzzed I was. So I was like, I don't give a fuck, man. They're gonna hear Sneaky. Like it's gonna be all Sneaky, whatever, Sneaky back to back. But then I'm dropping it, and like my homie Ray's there, and he's looking at me like, hey, what was your song? This is pretty fire. And then I'm looking at him, and like him rocking out, and I start looking around. I see some girl like twerking, backing it up. I see some other people like kind of jumping. I see people like bobbing their head, and I was like, my music's kind of fire, dog. And it's just like, it's like I make the music because I like it.
Yeah.
And you always put it out hoping people are gonna vibe out to it.
Of course, yeah.
So, but like when you see it happening, you're just like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's working.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like, you're kind of surprised. You're like, oh, like,
yeah,
it's working. Like, what? It's working. So that was my story. It's like the same thing. It's like, you put it out there, you want people to fuck with it, you hope people, like, you feel it and then it moves them. But then when it actually does, you're like, well, mission fucking accomplished.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I do want to say thank you to the strangers who have reached out via my blog, via Instagram, whatever, and who have let me know that this has impacted them. Like, that means a lot to me, because I feel like this is for something. It really is beneficial for people.
It's just nice to be validated, right? Like as a human being, like finally you're getting you're getting complimented on something that's not your tits or your ass. Like, isn't it great? Like, it's nice,
words,
right?
Your words,
your brain is like your thoughts. This is how you think. Damn, like.
Well, I think a lot of people. Well, yeah, you know what? And just a brief story is, I think a lot of people reached out, and people that do know me, and they said they didn't know that's how I thought. They didn't know that I had that in me to write like that or express myself like that. And I know it was a shocker to some people.
Does that feel kind of like a backhanded compliment a little bit, though?
Yeah.
Where they're like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. I had no idea you thought, you chicken head. Like, I thought you were a fucking airhead twerk turn up girl. I didn't know you had deep thoughts about the universe. That's crazy, girl. You keep doing you.
It's like, wait a minute. So yeah, it's like, oh, so you're not that rager, that blah blah blah, that stereotype.
You're
or
like,
whatever.
well, I am, but get you a girl that could do both.
Yeah. Exactly. Or I mean, do more than two things.
Yeah, do more than two things. How about that? Yeah. Be multifaceted, multidimensional.
No, but yeah, I mean, it's
no, but yeah.
Yeah, no, but yeah.
So what's next? You're gonna get more bloggers, more writers,
yeah.
And that's gonna be. Are you taking submissions for that? Are you going out and finding people and trying to curate the page? Are you meeting people in real life? What's that look like?
Well, the interesting part is that just over the last week, I had 2 people reach out. Strangers, and it was interesting. So I'm getting to know them, getting to know what they're about, getting to know what they have to speak about, and if all goes well, I'll have them join on and also start a section on the page so that they can go ahead and write, because it's like how I told you, I mean, not everyone's journey is the same.
Definitely
they
not.
may speak something, we may go through similar things, but they may speak it differently than I do.
Right. Or speak to a different audience, or connect to a different area, a different person.
But also, to answer what's next, I want to write a book. So
well, when it's done,
this is where I'll come back. And no, yeah. So next year. Yeah.
That means you already started, right?
Yes, you already know.
Because I was like, girl, it's hard to put out a book. I hope you already started. You're saying next year, like. I know a couple people who put books out.
Why do you think I seclude myself so much? Because if it weren't for that,
girl, I am also always working, not constantly hanging out with people and having fun.
No, yeah,
so I don't know what your personal life is like.
No, look, I mean,
I didn't even know you had a man. I found out right here on live on air. Yeah.
Well, that's how you know. Look, it's just one of those things where I'm not gonna go public with a lot of things. My life is my life, and I mean, as long as I'm here for my friends if they need me. I'm not gonna shut you out. I'm still here. But yes, so now that they know,
she's wiped up. That's why she's not coming out. She got dick appointments on the books. I mean, on the books for the whole year.
No. Disregard that. Ignore him.
This is live. We're not editing that out. Sorry.
No.
Recognition.
But I really did. I really did start on my book. So that's a huge part of the reason why I really have been kind of avoiding people. I mean, it's just one of those things that requires a lot of attention and dedication.
No, yeah, definitely.
And it's just, again, that doesn't mean that I don't have time for people if they need me, if they need to vent, whatever it is. I'm still here for them. But this is important for me, and it's super huge to the point where it's one of those things where I kind of have to also separate that from my relationship. And, luckily...
Homie understands, yeah.
Oh, absolutely, because it's something that's super important. So at that time, it's just look out for that book, though.
Okay.
So this is where I'll come back.
Whenever
and
it's ready, you come back. We'll talk about it. I'm excited to hear all about it.
You better read it first, and then that way you have your notes ready.
I haven't even read your blog, so.
Can you believe that?
Hey,
has me on his show, and
it's because I don't like to have too much information, because then the shit seems more boring. Like I'm learning shit here on the spot, you know? It's like, it's more exciting for the listeners. Come on. All right, we got like 4 minutes left. Tell people where they can find your site, your Instagram, anything that you want to point them to, any kind of last words. This is your moment to just say, fuck off.
You can find my blog at cynarias.com, and that's CYNARIAS.com.
She got the .com too.
Shit. You can also find my Instagram via my blog, so that's also up there. And something that I really also want to start touching up on via blogs is, I know I had a quick story. I had someone reach out to me who has been suicidal for a lot of years. I am actually a survivor. I tried something when I was 16, ended up, clearly I'm here, so I did not succeed.
It's
but
a good thing to fail at, by the way. Just
I'm still here, so I didn't succeed. No, but someone reached out, and I really want to start touching on that, and I want to have a section where you can go and find hotlines, web pages, whatever resources you need for that. I really want to make sure that I touch on that, because I think it's super important for people to have those resources available and ready for them. And just even look out for my story on that. Actually, that's going to be my next blog post, now that I just see what I did there?
You see what she did there?
So just look out for that, and I'll be posting that on my Instagram. But other than that, I mean, if you ever need guidance, need to just even get any resources for anything that you may need, I'm going to be linking that via my Instagram and blog. So just look out for that.
All right. Well, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
It was a dope conversation, and I'm pretty sure we have a lot more shit that we could have talked about. So
I'll come back.
When the book's ready, you come back, let me know. We'll promote it. I'll be doing a post about this once it's out on the podcast app and all that. And yeah, it was dope.
It was. Thank you.
That was quick. That was like an hour. Pretty cool. Huh? It's pretty good.
Yeah, it was
all
good.
Right. Well, I am Sneaky. This is Recognition and Respect. You can find me at official Sneaky or at Sneaky ENT, or you can Google Sneaky, or you can go to sneaky.net. I didn't get the .com. I tried. It's available, or it's not available, but no one's using it, but they still own it. Trying to get me, holding a ransom, trying to get me to pay. I'm not going to pay, fool. Give it up. Sneaky gang, sneaky landia out here, homie. Anyway, tune in every Monday night, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. on the west side of the after party. I love y'all. Till next time, Brittany, take us out. Mwah.